Welcome. In this video, we'll be going over how to play REICHBUSTERS Projekt Vril by doing a solo playthrough of Operation Fidget. So looking through our mission book, we can see for missions, there's two ways to play this game. You can do a raid, which is a one-off, or we can go through a campaign. So I'm going to be setting up for a campaign, and depending on how that goes, we'll see if anyone lives to continue on. So step one is setting up our heroes, which is fairly easy. We'll take the card, put it in a tray, and whatever tokens it has, we'll put that in there. So you can see for Sarge, we've taken his card. On one side, we just have some flavor text. On the other side, it's going to give us his ability as a squad leader and his two weapons he'll have. So he's got a revolver and a machine gun. Basically, they've got keywords and give us some information for range, attack dice, how much noise they'll make, and so forth, and then keywords. So we'll get into those once we actually start playing the game. Then it goes over completing a mission, so whether you're in victory or defeat, so you could have been crushed with a major defeat, so you failed your objective and all heroes were captured, or you had a heroic victory for king and country, objective completed and no heroes were captured, and a couple more options. And it goes over setting up the map, which we'll get to shortly. There is options for playing with fewer than 4 players. Basically, the recommendation is to have at least 4 heroes, and if you have less than 4 players, have someone control more. But there are other options for playing with less than that. It's just going to make the game more difficult. Then it goes over setting up for a raid mission. So this would be a one-off mission. And then for setting up for a campaign mission, which is what we're going to do. So going through here, we've got our basics. We've got our HQ card set up on the side. We're going to start with mission 1. We're going to choose our heroes. For starting out, they've got us locked down with just 4 heroes to choose from, which we'll see on the main page. It tells us to remove some cards, so RB 41, 185, 190, and 201. So a quick look at those. You can see down in real tiny print, they have those numbers on the bottom. So one's a spawn card, and the others are 3 secret passages that will be removed from a campaign mission. Then it goes on to explaining what you can do after a campaign mission with leveling up your heroes with additional skills, and then your campaign difficulty. So this really doesn't affect how hard the game is while you're playing, just basically what happens after the mission. So like you can go from level 0. At the end of the mission, all permanent wounds are removed from heroes. Captured heroes are returned to your available pool. If the mission fails, you may proceed to the next mission. Or the right way to play, captured heroes lose all heroic points and items. They're removed from the available pool, and the mission must be successful to proceed to the next mission. So since I don't know how hard this thing is going to go, I'm just going to go level 1 with easy does it. So I'll be able to remove 1 permanent wound from each hero. Captured heroes are returned to the available pool of heroes, so we'll just assume they snuck out eventually. And if the mission fails, we may proceed to the next one. So I don't have to keep repeating the same mission over. So then we get to mission 1. So it's going to show us our operation card, which there's also a card for here with the missions. And that's going to give us a lot of information for the different enemies we're going to see. And also looking on the back of the card, you can see the colors of each matters. So the unit background is going to tell you if it's ranged or melee attack. The color around the letters is going to let you know what kind of loot they drop or if they don't. And then we've got their ranged, melee, and defenses and the number of miniatures for each of those. We'll get some flavor text. So intel gathered from Enigma decrypts confirms the existence of Operation Lebenskraft deep beneath Castle Welsenberg. The details are still scarce, but all information points towards the existence of a new superweapon being developed that can turn the tide of the war. Your mission is to infiltrate Castle Wesselsberg and bring back evidence of this Projekt Vril. Exercise extreme caution. The Allies have already lost 1 team out there, and time is running out. So our objective, a hero must escape the castle with a dossier objective item before the alarm triggers. At the start of the campaign, we're only going to have access to Sarge, Claudine, Quentin, and Red Hawk. Other heroes will be made available later in the campaign. Special rules, we'll place a dossier objective face down in Area 1A. The nature of the mission is a stealth operation into the castle. As such, there is no post-alarm mission tracker. And we get some flavor text if we succeed. Down here, it's going to let us know what tracker we're using. So we've got that set up down here with our timepiece starting on level or round 1. Then it's going to show us how to set our map up. So we're going to try to make the table look like this. So to make it fit on screen, I've gone sideways. So it's going to explain where possible enemy units are, loot, and other items. So doors, we've got them with levels 1, 2, and 3. And that's basically for noise levels. We do have to set up a random cage up in this room, and we have an office desk down here. We will be starting it here, so we've got to come in, go through, pick up the dossier, and then exit through there without setting up the alarm. So that's our goal. So down at the table, we've got our map set up, got our random tokens put in place. There are 4 heroes at the front door, possible 4 enemies we've got sitting out. And we'll go over each of those once they start popping up. Instead of explaining too much before we get started, we'll just explain as we go. So one final thing for heroes. Once we get this set up, each hero comes with a stack of 12 action cards. We're going to look through that and find 2 that only has 1 space on them. All the others are divided. We're going to start with these 2 in our hand. The remaining cards will be shuffled, and then each hero will be dealt 2 of those cards. And we'll kind of explain over those cards as we play the game. We are just going to get started after we go over what we're doing on our turns. So we do have 4 cards to help us with iconography and the hero turn. So on our turn, each hero is going to have 2 basic actions available each turn. They may also take free actions to play cards, use items, drop 1 item, or give 1 item to another player. We can move. We can only do that action once per turn. We can attack once per turn. We can search, ready equipment, draw 2 cards, unlock or open a door, or recover. And this action replaces both hero actions. Once a hero does that, each enemy is going to get a turn. So we're going to have hero turn, enemy. So we're going to do this 4 times and then go to the end of the round. So on the enemy's turn, it's got 4 phases. We've got raise the alarm. So pre-alarm, which is going to be this whole scenario or else we've lost. When enemy units are alert, we advance the mission tracker. So basically the state of the board is empty. They don't know what's going on. If they can see us, they're going to become suspicious. And then after they know, uh-oh, the enemy is here, then they're going to become alert. And we'll see how that works eventually, unless I'm super good and stealthy. So if any units are alert, we're going to advance the mission tracker by 1. Action stations, all alert enemies on the map move. They're going to do this in order listed on the mission faction card down here. Then kill the intruders. All alert enemy units that can attack do so. And they'll do that in the order on the faction card. So if they're not alert, we're basically skipping those first 3 phases. Then we're going to check awareness. If any heroes are in line of sight of enemy units, we're going to raise the level of awareness. So the card or this token will flip up. Then once all 4 heroes have gone and we've had 4 enemy turns, into round phase, any player with fewer than 5 cards is going to draw 1 card. We'll advance the mission tracker by 1 round, and then collect the turn order tokens and ready for the next round. So that's our turn process. So when we are in a pre-alarm state, we can choose our characters to go in any order. So we've got 4 tokens here letting us know who's going first. We're going to have Quentin go first. So looking at his sheet, we can see he's got the stealthy ability. That's going to help us when we're opening doors and such. We've got a bow and a knife, and both those have precise. You see he's got a range of 3 on this, rolling 2 dice, but no noise with using his weapons. First thing he's going to do is open the door. And this is a level 1 door, which means we're going to roll 1 noise dice. So we'll finish that action first. So we're going to get 1 white die. As you can see, we've got 1 blank, 1 burst, which is what we don't want to see on this. A couple singles, double, and a triple there. So we'll give that a roll. we want a blank. We've created 2 noise by squeaking the door open. So we're going to go to our noise cards here. Wasted time. It says re-roll 1 die. So we're going to take this and re-roll it. Getting a 3. So with that, here's our threshold. If we would meet or beat that, we'd go to the bottom point. But since we did not, we're good. So we weren't too noisy here. And these will go in their own discard pile. I'm just going to put them face up on the bottom. So we've completed that action. Now we have line of sight to 1 enemy. So to explain the room a little bit, we can see the 4 cardinal directions. We can see straight, up and down, north and south, or east and west. So from opening this door, we can see in this area. This little line here is another area. So right now we just have line of sight to 1 token and not this side of the room. So real quick, just going over the map, we've got the tile, which is a whole piece of cardboard basically. And then they can be divided up into areas. So we've got a line going through here. So we've got 2 areas. Our line of sight is the straight 4 cardinal direction. So we can see north and south or straight east and west. So as such, we just have line of sight to this one enemy and not this enemy. So we're going to go ahead and spawn this one. So go over to our spawn deck, flip that over. We've got the green 1, which is going to refer us to an A and a B. So what that means is we're going to go over here and we're going to see an officer and a soldier pop up in that area. So we'll bring these guys out into play. As soon as they have line of sight on us, they are going to become suspicious, and that's for the entire room. For our second action, we're going to play one of our cards. So his base cards is, he's got Reign of Death and Swift as an Arrow, and we drew into a Pip Pip and Skilled, or God Save the King and a Vicious. And the way these work, we're going to have symbols up here. It tells us this is a free action to play. After we play it, we're going to discard it, and it doesn't create any noise. And then it's going to give us our ability. So this one works the same way. Free action to play, discard it. It's going to create 1 noise. The way the others work is we can do the top action, or the bottom is a modifier. So we can do this as an action, discard, free action, discard for no noise to get this ability. Or we can modify one of our other actions. So this is the modification, discard the card, no extra dice rolled, but it's going to give us +1 dice of whatever we are wanting to use. What we're going to do is a Reign of Death. We're going to make an attack with +1 attack die. That's going to have the lethal keyword. It's going to be ranged attack on 3 enemy units. So before we get to that, let's go look at our enemy units in play. So while this tells us the main stats, so we can see he wants to be ranged, but he does have some melee and we've got a defense. So that's what we have to do to wound it. He's got some keywords, so he's a coward. This unit will not move into the same area as a hero and will move out of an area containing a hero during the action stations phase if possible. Coward takes precedence over guarding. So it's dug in. This unit gains +1 defense whilst at a guard point, which is tokens like this. And guard. If this unit begins its activation in an area with a guard point, count how many guard units are in that area. If there are fewer than 5 guards in total, the unit will remain in that area. So nothing that's really affecting our attack. This token down here is if we defeat it, there's a possibility it's going to drop some loot down. So as far as a soldier, we've got his attack, fight, and defense. I guess I should also mention for the ranged, the big number is what we need for defense. The first small number, don't know if you can see that, that's how much range it has. So 2 areas, 1 area. The +2 is if there's a whole bunch of these soldiers shooting at us. So if we've got 3 in a spot, the first one we need a 4, and then we're going to add +2 for each additional. We'll get into that to defense. You can see he's got a defense of 4. It's a bodyguard. So here's our unable to target officers. So we can't target him first. Or Vril-meisters while a bodyguard unit is in the same area. Additionally, this unit gains +1 attack when on the same tile as an officer or a Vril-meister. So it's dug in. This unit gains +1 defense while at a guard point, which is all the way back there. So that's not going to affect. And then if this unit begins its activation in an area with a guard point, we're going to count the guard units. And depending on that, they might leave or not. And then down here, possible loot being dropped. And on the other side, it's also telling us what area. So we're doing campaign mission 1. So this lets us know we've got the right people in there. So now back to our free attack. We have a bow. It's got a range of 3. We're getting a base 2 dice, but this card's going to give us +1 black die. It's not going to make any noise. It does have the keyword precise. And what that does is in all attacks, each blank black and red will add a 1 to the total. And the lethal, we may re-roll each blank test result once when making an attack test. So we're going to get our base 2 attacks and our extra one for this, and we're going to have to shoot at the guard first. So this is Quentin sitting there. It's got a defense of 4. We've got a total of 7 hits on it. Specials is what's going to make loot drop. That would have been nice, but just killing the unit is good enough. So that's gone. And then our second enemy unit. Rolling 3 dice. Defense of 3. We've got a boost, a blank, and a hit. So what the boost dies or special symbols do, they're going to count as 2 dice. But we also have an option. We can bring in another die to roll, or we can use this to trigger an effect. So first, because we're lethal, we get to re-roll our dice, or the blanks. So right now we've got a total of 5 hits looking at us, which is more than enough to kill that. So we're going to spin this to make him drop some loot. So we'll go to our loot stacks, make sure we got the right symbol, and drop that in place there. And he's going to go away. And this was a free action, so that didn't count against our 2 actions. But what I am going to do for my second action is just draw 2 cards. I'm going to stay out there in the open and build my hand size up. So our next 2 cards is going to be By Jovi and Advance, or Urider and Tactical. And we will end his turn. So then on the enemy turn, pre-alarm, if we don't have, that token is not alert, that's just suspicious. So we're going to skip the first 3 steps. Then we'll check to see if any heroes are in line of sight of enemy units. We are not in line of sight. All these people, this unit token here can see is this space. They cannot see us, so nothing's going to happen on the enemy turn. So we're going to go to our second individual. And for that, we're going to pick Claudine. So Claudine's going to come in. She's got a knife also, and a machine gun that does burst, and it's an unreliable, so we'll get into those if we use it, and she has a vengeance ability. Vengeance is pretty neat. Once per turn, this hero may move 1 if it allows him to move into melee. So as long as they're moving into a spot with an enemy, they get a free move. So for her first action, we're going to go ahead and have her move into that space. This enemy unit's going to have line of sight. So we are going to spawn 2 bees, which is 2 soldiers. So the units are spawned at the same awareness as the room is already at. But then, following the level of awareness down here, the first time an enemy unit sees any hero, regardless of what causes it, do this up to once per room corridor per hero turn. So we're going to raise the awareness from suspicious to alert. She's going to use her free vengeance ability, which allows her to move 1 space as long as she ends up in melee. So she'll move there and be in melee with those 2. Then we're going to play a card from hand for free. So free action. This card's going to stay in play till the beginning of our next turn, and it does not make any noise. We get to make a +2 die lethal melee attack on 2 enemy units. Until the beginning of our next turn, we're going to have +2 green dice for defense. We're going to go ahead and use our precise knife, which gives us a base 2 dice. This gave us +2 additional, so we got 4 dice. Like last attack, we're lethal because of the card and precise because of our knife. So blanks, we get to re-roll once, and then if we get another blank, it'll count as 1 success. So going on the first enemy in there. So we've got 6, 7, 8. We can make that a 9. And we'll use this to make it drop some loot. And for the second enemy unit, won't be dropping loot, but he's more than dead with 8 damage there. So I'm going to keep this out on her just so I remember she's got +2 defense if it comes into play. So basically what she's done, she's moved in, which was one of our actions. For free, she moved over, and then for free, we played the card to do the attack. So she still has a second action, which I'm going to have her do to pick up an item. So her options are what we just made the soldier drop or what was already in the room. And we can see with one, we're rolling 1 noise dice, and the other we're rolling 2. So I'm going to attempt to pick up what the soldier just dropped. Rolling 1 noise die. Getting a 3. So noise carries. Discard 2 cards or add 2 dice to her total. So the threshold is 7. So cards in hand. We've got our Angel of Death, which we're definitely not pitching. And we'll go ahead and make it interesting. We'll let you see what happens when an enemy patrol appears and is suspicious. So we're going to roll 2 more noise dice. I mean, I am hoping we get low, but we didn't. So we got a total of 7, which hits the threshold, which says an enemy patrol appears and it is suspicious. So this down here is telling us it's going to be a level 1 green. But we did pick this up. So we got ourselves a dog bone or doggy biscuit. So if dogs do come out to attack, we'll have a benefit against that. And we can place that on our tray. So then looking at our enemy patrols, they're going to enter through a closed non-exit door. The door must be the closest to our hero, whose turn it is or most recently was. And patrols cannot enter from a room or corridor that has a clear token on it. Moreover, if there is a hero on both sides of the door. So what that means is this guy's coming in here, but then he's going to open the door himself and move on into our area. And since we have line of sight, that's going to be a C, which is just a single soldier. And while this door is open and there is line of sight there, we cannot see through another enemy unit. So we will not spawn this one just yet. So I'd love to be able to move over there and attack him, but we don't have a way to move, so we can play after we draw a wound card to move on. So we've done our 2 basic actions, so we're done. So on to the enemy turn. So we're teaching how this works first. If any enemy units are alert, we're going to advance the mission tracker by 1. This guy walked in here, so he became alert. So mission tracker goes up by 1. All alert enemy units on the map move, and they do this in order listed on their mission's faction card. Soldier's going to choose not to move since he has a ranged weapon. Then he's going to attempt to kill the intruders. So he's shooting with a difficulty value of 4. He's going after the person whose turn it was that caused all this to happen. So for defense, we typically get 2 green dice. Because she's a lady, she gets the +2. So we're trying to meet that difficulty of 4. And so we got 5, so we do not take a wound from that. Then we'll check awareness. If any heroes are in line of sight of enemy units, if necessary, raise the level of awareness. We can't go any higher than that, so we're done. And now we see who we want to go third. We're going to have Sarge go next. So you can see here, he's a squad leader. Got a revolver, which is lethal and versatile, and then a machine gun with burst. See a range of 1 and 2. 2 dice, 3 dice, and then noise is the same. Also, all characters can make just a hand-to-hand melee attack with 1 black die that takes 0 noise. So for squad leader, this hero may play a single card from their hand to modify an attack test of another hero in the same or an adjacent area. So all of them can do it in the same area. So he gets to help from people in an adjacent area. We've seen lethal before. Versatile. So versatile weapons may make ranged attacks against enemy units in the same area. So typically if you're doing a ranged attack, you cannot do that if you're in melee. And then the burst attack. So once per attack, if we get one of these results, we may add 2 dice to the total. And then once burst has been triggered, basically all the damage we have on that, we can apply to all the units in that space. Now I'm going to do a lot of rules explaining on this guy. Once we get this first round done, everything else will go a lot more quicker. First thing we're going to do is have him move into this space, which is going to draw a line of sight to this unit. So we're going to spawn that. And that is going to bring out just a single soldier. Then we're going to play one of his main cards. So it's a free action. After we play it, we'll discard it. The noise is going to be determined by whatever weapon we use. So each hero on the same or an adjacent tile may move 1. So if I wanted to move him away from this enemy, I couldn't take him to a space without enemies, but I can move him to another space with an enemy. So I'm going to move him over. And this starts at the beginning of his turn as far as the triggering. So same tile or adjacent is going to hit everyone. So he's moving into this room. I'm going to go ahead and move these 2 in this area and move her over to this area also. Then he can make 2 +1 lethal attacks. So while it does make noise, it is versatile, so we can use it in our same area we're at. So we can shoot at this guy, then we're going to hope we can shoot at the other guy. And the noise will be determined by this, so it's going to create 2 noise. So it has a base 2 dice with the +1. So on this guy, we've got 2, 4, plus a burst, so that's enough to kill him and have him drop some loot. Then for our second attack, we'll shoot over here. Firing off 3 blanks, but since it is a lethal attack, we can reroll each of those once. That was much better, so we're up to 6, and we can make him drop some loot. So even though we made 2 attacks, we just rolled noise once, so 2 white dice. Getting a burst on that one, which is not what we want to see. So we've got a total of 5 there. So we can add 2 to the total, which doesn't matter because we've already gotten a 5. So we're going to end up with a total of 10 there. So make the nearest non-suspicious room suspicious. So we're going to make this room suspicious, but he does not have line of sight to us. Maybe not that bad, even though we muffed it. We'll see how that plays out. So that was our move action. Then we played a card for free. And of course, that guy was suspicious when we were in there, but not anymore. So for our next action, we're going to see what that guy dropped. Rolling for noise. Getting a 2. So we were a bit noisy, so we're going to add 1 to our total. Total of 3, so we were less than the threshold, so got lucky on that one. And we picked up a grenade, which is not good unless we want to blow up a lot of people at once. Basically, this does 1 damage to everyone in the room we drop it in, but that symbol there means this token is going to move over twice. So not something we're going to probably use in this. So we'll just add it to our dashboard. So he did his 2 actions, so we're going to end his turn. So enemy units are alert. This room is alert, but there's no enemy units in there. This room, they're suspicious. So we'll go to the end, check to see if any heroes are in line of sight of enemy units. If necessary, raise the level. Do not have line of sight between these 2, so he'll stay the same. From what I see, these tokens stay out until the end of round phase. So there's 1 step that's not on this card. But in the rule book, the end of the round phase, check the board for any tokens that need to be removed. For example, remove any awareness tokens not in a room or corridor containing any enemy units. So end of the round, these 2 are going to go away. This will stay there because from what I understand, tokens and miniatures are both enemy units. So as soon as we open that door, this is going to flip and they'll become alert. So lastly, we're going to have Red Hulk go. So see, she's got a knife and a gun with accurate, and she is focused. So the accurate ability, so attacks may draw a line of sight through areas containing enemy units. In addition, ignore bodyguard and meat shield. And then for focused, this hero may reroll 1 black attack die per attack action. So first thing we're going to have her do is pick up one of these loot items, so 1 noise token. Getting a blank. So for once, we're not drawing a card. So all it takes is 1 single noise to draw a card, but we get this for nothing. So we picked up some armor-piercing bullets. So we'll put that on her dashboard. Then for a free action, we're going to discard this for no noise to move 1 space and draw 1 card. So we'll move over here and draw into Daspadanya and Tactical. And for our second actual action, we're going to draw 2 more cards. Getting Scout Ahead and Deadly, and Seeing Red and Deadly. So some other things that happened when she moved into this room. We'll put a cleared token in there. So basically that's going to prevent things from spawning and coming up behind us. So we place clear tokens once we move into a room or corridor that contains no enemy units, or we end our turn in a room that contains no enemy units. So we're ending her turn there. We don't have any enemy units that are alert. They don't have line of sight to us, so end of round phase. Any player with fewer than 5 cards draws 1. Red Hulk has 6. Sarge has 3, so he'll draw into Suck It Up and Tactical. Claudine has 3, so drawing into Alonzi and Tactical. And poor Quentin ended with 5, so he doesn't get any more. Then these tokens are going to go away since there's no enemy units in there. We'll advance the mission tracker by 1 round, so we're up to round 3. And collect the turn order tokens and get ready for the next round. So with a lot of the explaining over with, hopefully this will go quicker for the second round. We are going to start with Quentin. First action is going to be to move. Second action is going to be to open the door, rolling 1 noise die. Getting a blank, and we will keep that. So we've got line of sight to an enemy. Be spawning 2 soldiers. It's their first time seeing enemies, so we're going up to alert. Quentin has made his 2 basic actions. So now all he has is the cards in his hand. So in our hand, we only have 2 cards that are free actions that allow us to attack. The others are reactions. So something has to trigger for them to happen. So we're going to be swift as an arrow. So free action, discard it, making 1 noise after the fact. We've got 2 items here. We have to do them in order, but we don't have to actually do them. So we've got move 2. I'm going to choose not to move. Then we go to make a +2 accurate ranged attack. We're using our precise bow, which comes with 2 dice, and we get an additional 2 dice. They've got a defense of 4. So right there, we've got the 4 damage, and for the extra ability, we'll make one drop some loot. Now we've got a noise to deal with. Getting a 1. So that's going into close call. So it says reroll 1 non-blank die. So we don't have any blank dice. So we'll stay there. So did not meet the threshold. Next, we're going to play Pip Pip. Free action, discard, no noise. In either order, we can move 1 and make an attack. So we'll go ahead and move in for close quarters combat. Making an attack with our knife. Only getting 2 hits. And this is how our boost cards come into play. So discard, no noise. We can give him that die symbol. Same thing here, except we'll get 2 additional dice, and that would help us move. Sarge also has the ability with his squad leader ability to help boost us. But I think I'm going to hold on to his cards. We'll have Quentin do his own stuff with his tactical to add a boost in there, and we'll just go ahead and use that to have this guy drop some loot. It's the end of our turn. No enemies are alert, and no enemies have line of sight to us. Once we did get line of sight to this room, didn't do it, but the office desk would have flipped over. So in here, we've got a patrol schedule. So whilst in this area, you may take a basic action to look at the top 3 cards of the spawn deck, discard 1, and put the others back on top of the deck in either order. So we're going to play the safe for this round. We're going to have Sarge go. First action is going to be to move in. Second action is to go ahead and do this ability. So we're going to look at the top 3 spawn cards. We can pitch 1. Well, we've got 2 that only spawn 1 person and 1 that spawns 3. So we're going to discard that one and put these back on top. When he moved in here, it became clear. Ending his turn, nothing is going to trigger. We'll have Red Hawk go, doing the exact same thing. Moving in, check the schedule. So we know what 2 of them are. I'm okay with, I feel like that's as good as it's going to get right there. Except, I think we'll make the first one spawn to be 2 and the others to be a single. Actually, it doesn't look like that's an option, so we do have to discard 1. So we'll discard the one with 2 and quit doing that ability. So I should have drawn 2 cards with her, but we can learn from our mistakes. So we'll end her turn. There's no enemies that's going to have anything go off. So for Claudine, beginning of her turn, she's no longer a lady. I wouldn't tell her that. First action is going to be to move. Second action, she's going to draw 2 cards. Viva la France and a stick grenade. So nothing's triggering an enemy turn. End of round phase. Anyone with less than 5 cards will draw 1. Sarge has 4, so he'll draw into moving forward. And Quentin will draw a card. Getting what? No enemy units in here, so oops, accidentally see what that is. We'll get rid of the alert token. Advance the round by 1. And then get our tokens. So for this round, we're going to have Claudine go first. First action is going to be to move. Second action is going to be to open the door. So that's going to be a noise of 1. Getting a 1. So too loud, discard 1 card or add 1 to your total. So we're going to go ahead and discard a card. Since I've already done my basic move, it's not going to help us this time. So line of sight, we see these guys. It's going to bring out 1 unit. We go to suspicious. We're going to play this one for free. It is going to give us a noise to move 1 and draw a card. So I'll move out here, drawing into a bloodlust. And the noise, yeah, we'll do that first. It's going to be a 3. That didn't work out too well. So, oops, discard a card. At least we didn't make the threshold. And so we'll go ahead and discard Vive la France. These guys are going to spawn. Now this, since they're going to see us for the first time, this won't advance since it's still on 1 hero turn. So over in this area, we're going to see 1 person pop up. And then this is going to be the one we don't know. So 2 soldiers. We're going to play this for free. It's going to have the noise for our weapon we use. We're going to use our knife. So make a melee attack on 2 enemy units. We've only got 1. So our knife is going to give us 2 dice. And it's precise. So we're doing 4 damage. So he'll go away. Then we're going to use our free vengeance ability to move once as long as we go into a space with enemies. Then we're going to be an Angel of Death. So discarding for free action 0, we get to make a +1 attack on each enemy unit in our area. So we're going to have 3 dice for each of these attacks. So on the first soldier, so you've got 2 and then 2 blanks, but fortunately we are precise with this weapon. So that's going to count for 4 for us. And then our next attack, getting 4, 5, 6, and making him drop some loot. And unfortunately, we don't have any more move options or attacks in her play. So she is done. So for the enemy turn, he is not alert. So we skip the first 3. We'll check awareness. He's got line of sight, so now he becomes alert. So for our second activation, we're going to have Red Hawk go. First action is going to be a move. Second is going to be a free action. Discarding this, noise will be determined by the weapon. Move 1, make an attack with an automatic +3. So moving 1, we get an auto 3 in this. We're going to use our knife. So another 2 dice, so not noisy. So we had enough there to take care of it. So gone. Second action, we're going to pick up our dossier, which has a noise of 2. And we just got 2 there. So, not going to pronounce that, but I think you know what it means. Reroll 1 blank die. We don't have any blanks, so we're under the threshold. We're getting super lucky. We'll end her turn. No enemies in play to deal with. We'll go with Quentin. First action will be to move. Since he's moving in there with no enemies, we'll clear that area. Second action would be to draw 2 cards. So he's jolly good and roll Britannia. No enemies, he's done. Then we'll move on to Sarge. He's going to use this as a basic action. So in case someone does make some noise, we'll get rid of this because that brings out an officer. And put the single one on top. Second action to move. Go into the end of the round. So if less than 5 cards or draw 1, advance the mission tracker, and then collect turn order tokens. Claudine is the only one that will be drawing a card, getting aggression. Get her tokens back. Round 5. Try to put this in the right order. I do have this door upside down. That's a 3 there. So first we're going to go to Quentin. He's going to move 1 space, and then open the door. 3 dice on that. I'm hoping his stealthy is going to serve us well. So this hero may reroll 1 noise die when making a non-weapon noise test. But beware, special results can never be re-rolled. So 3 dice. I guess not bad. 4. So let's add 3 dice to her total. That was a catastrophe. It's 1 noisy door. All right. So 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We definitely beat the threshold. Alert enemy units immediately attack. If they cannot attack, they move. This is not an activation. So this was probably the best card that we could have gotten for this. Because we don't have any alert enemy units on the board. So at the end of the round, that would have come off and there's no units in there. So with that kind of luck, we just need her to activate. We do have 2 options. We can just do a move 2, or she goes out the door and we make some noise, but we're going to go stealthy. We're going to use Bird of Prey. We're going to move 1 and choose not to make an attack. Actually, that's not stealthy because that still is a noise of 3. Never mind, I'm overthinking this. See if we've got another way to go. So never mind, thought I was being smart, but I wasn't. We'll go ahead and scout ahead. We're going to go run out the door, moving 2. It is a noise of 1. Getting a blank. The dice are loving this game. So our mission objective was a hero must escape the castle with a dossier objective item before the alarm triggers, which we did. But we do need to go back to completing a mission. So the game continues until the heroes escape, run out of time, or all heroes are captured. A hero cannot use an exit to escape without an objective item, and Red Hawk had that item. So as soon as the first hero exits the map, the game ends. All remaining non-captured heroes check to see if they can exit also. So simply trace a path from the hero to an exit as if they had infinite movement. If they can reach an exit without moving onto an area that contains an enemy unit, then they escape too. If their escape route is blocked, they are captured. So the best way to do this would have been boring to have everyone just take 1 action to move up in that corner, take another turn and walk out. So it was a risk going there for the noise because someone could have came through this door and blocked everyone else. But as is, everyone else has a clear way to get out the door. And we did this for King and Country, so a heroic victory. The objective was completed and no heroes captured. So the enemy has been dealt a crushing blow and the REICHBUSTERS live to fight another day. The war will be won through efforts like these. Congratulations. So going back to our mission complete. Dossiers recovered from the castle highlight the existence of a new energy source known as Vril. Apparently this can control all types of matter, both animate and inanimate. Interestingly, the dossier also suggests that a Professor Markham has tried to shut down the project twice due to ethical concerns over the use of Vril on human subjects. If anyone in here is going to be sympathetic to the Allies' cause, it's him. So after completing the campaign, we discard any objective items and move all other items back to our HQ card. So we lose our objective item, get our HQ card in play. So we can put a grenade in there along with some armor-piercing bullets, a dog biscuit. We'll remove any permanent wounds. The mission was successful. We add a random heroic point to the REICHBUSTERS HQ cards. Heroes may then use heroic points to purchase new skills. After purchasing new skills, any unspent heroic points remain on the card for the next mission. So new skills can be purchased using heroic points. So we've got attack points and defense points, and there's also wilds. A new skill costs a number of heroic points equal to the number of skills of that type the hero will now have. So no hero may have more than 4 skills at that time. The 5th skill is bought, one other skill must be discarded. So if Quentin wishes to purchase Quick Shot, which is an attack skill, it would just cost him 1 point. Because right now the only skill he has is a noise skill. But if you wish to purchase Sneaky, which is a noise skill, it would cost him 2 points. So random tokens there. We'll just mix those up and remove that from the list. And this means we've got a defense skill, which means one of our heroes can be Counter, Iron Hide, Lone Wolf, Resilient, or Guardian. So for defensive skills, for Counter, once per defense, one of these symbols may be spent to make an attack against a unit that attacked this hero. Iron Hide. Once per defense, symbol may be spent to add 2 defense dice to the total. Lone Wolf. When no other heroes are in your area, gain an extra defense die and Resilient. And Resilient is you may reroll each blank green and red result once when making a defense test. And of course the next option is actually Resilient. So we've already got that covered. And then Guardian. And for Guardian, this hero may spend their defense modifier cards to modify the defense tests of other heroes in the same area. So you can usually do this for attack tests. So Guardian is special for defense only. And from what I've seen, first one, Quentin and Claudine, are the ones that are going to be attacked more often, probably. But she has the good card that helps boost her dice, so I'm going to spend that point to give Claudine Counter. And that's going to conclude our playthrough of REICHBUSTERS Projekt Vril for Mission 1, Operation Fidget. As always, I hope you enjoyed this video. If so, please click on the like button below and be sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching.